Welcome back to Sunsets Ponies, everyone. So today I was going to show you how to do straw curls. So this is a great way to style your pony's hair or to make it look like it did when it was released, such as this pony here, Rain Curl, was a part of a later year set that came with these really tight long curls that were really pretty. And of course, he didn't hold up to play very great. Plus this one has a braid in here. So sometimes when you have a pony, the hair is curled and it's still in pretty decent shape, and you can try to preserve the original factory curl by being very gentle when you wash it and by allowing it to kind of dry back into the shape it wants to. But this pony's hair is in pretty rough shape. So very first thing we're going to do is comb this hair completely out. So like in my last video about pony grooming, I am going to go ahead and use a plentiful conditioner and start from the ends and just really try to make sense of this before we get back to the part where we actually try recurling the hair. So let's get started. Just so we're clear, this process can take some patience, and be very gentle as you can when trying to separate this hair, because if you yank it too hard, you'll either break it or you'll stretch it, and then it's not going to do exactly what you want it to do. Now you may find as you are working on this that you have some hairs that have pulled out. So you'll see on the end of this pony's tail, some of these hairs have pulled out pretty far. And so just to make it easier on myself, I'm just going to go ahead and trim those up with this sharp little pair of scissors. There we go. Okay, so we've got her hair completely combed out. I haven't washed it out yet, but I'm looking at it, and at this point you could decide whether you need to use a straightener on it if the frizz is very bad. Her mane actually looks really good. Her tail has a little bit of fuzz here. You can see the difference between the texture of the mane and a bit of her tail over here. So I think I'm going to use a straightener just on the ends of her tail right here. But that's totally up to you. If you want to leave this, you could, without even using any curlers, you see how it wants to retain some of the curl, or at least some waves. So you could potentially just wash out the conditioner with cold water, because the hot water will help set it, reset the shape. So with cold water, you could wash all of this out and then just let it kind of follow the way it wants to, and let her dry, you know, face down where there's not the weight of the water pulling the hair down. But since I'm going to completely recurl her hair, I think I am going to go ahead and straighten the end of her tail. So like in last video, do always be careful using your straightener. Always use the lowest setting, and always be careful about which hair you use with a straightener. Never you do the color changing. Always be incredibly careful with any tinsel. Generally better to not even do it with tinsel unless you're pretty certain that it's going to take this well. Okay, so now that I've finished combing and straightening, I am going to go ahead and wash all of the conditioner out of her mane and tail. Alright, so here is Rain Curl with her hair all still wet from having the conditioner washed out. You can, by the way, even now tell the difference between the upper part of her tail that I did not use a straightener on and the lower part of her tail where I did. So I've cleaned up my area with all the conditioner now, and her hair has been washed out. So now we're going to get to the actual curling part. So what you need is straws. So I have a bunch of straws that I'd already pre-cut to make them easier to work with. And then also you need bobby pins. And here's the thing about the bobby pins is they are metal. They will rust eventually, so be careful of your bobby pins that are not rusty, because you don't want to put anything rusty in the pony's hair. These are going to be submerged in water, and so you may have to throw away your bobby pins every once in a while. Now, again, I'm using the straws, but you can also use other types like this foam curler or anything that's round that you want to use. So if I wanted a bigger curl, I could use this. I even have some even bigger ones that I could get different sized curls. But today we'll use the straws. So we need straws, we need bobby pins, and we also need I just use a piece of paper towel. This just helps with the paper towel. I will just tear it into little pieces. So, first thing we need to do, I'll go ahead and do her mane first. Decide which way you want it to curl on. So part of the point of the paper towel for me is to just help hold the ends of the hair together. So I just wrap it on the ends right there like that. And then I take my little straw and I just wrap around. I try to wrap around the bottom so it holds it a little bit better. And then you just keep wrapping fairly tightly, depending on how tight you want the curl to be. So I have basically just wrapped her hair all the way around. So now I will take my bobby pin and I will put it one side in the inside the straw and the other side outside to help hold her in. And I may even use 2 bobby pins to help hold the bottom here. So now we have our first curl done, and so now we can do the rest. Okay, so now we have Rain Curl. Her hair is all put up in the straws or the curlers or whatever you want to use. you could let her just dry like this, and it will hold some curl, but eventually it'll be a looser curl, and it will potentially fall out. So what will really set these into a really nice tight curl is heat. So there's a couple of ways you could do this. You could, if your water from your tap gets really hot, you could just run her underneath the hot water from your tap for a little bit. But I tend to do this. I just put some water in a pan on the stove. I get it pretty warm. I don't know if you can see the steam here. It's not boiling, but it is really hot. So do be careful. If you don't normally use the stove, then be sure to get somebody's help. So I'm just going to take her. I'm not going to submerge her. I'm just going to dunk her hair into the really hot water and swish it in there a little bit. I'm just doing her tail right now. So just swishing her tail in there. I'm not even putting her whole butt, just the tail part, and then her mane. I'm just swishing it around and letting it kind of heat up in that really hot water, and that is what is going to set these curls. It doesn't have to be too long, just like 30 seconds to a minute, I guess. And again, be very careful if your water is really hot. Okay. So now I do want to, depending on which way I want her hair, if you want her hair to fall on that side or you want her hair to fall on this side, I always like the hair to fall on the display side personally. So I'm going to try to make sure her hair falls over here. And so now we're just going to set her aside, and I'm going to let her dry really well. You don't want to pull all this out while it's still damp. So I'm going to let her dry for at least 24 hours, or no, 24. I'm going to let her dry for at least 48 hours, at least 2 days. And then we will come back and see what has happened. So it's been 3 days now because I wasn't able to get to recording this yesterday. So she's had plenty of time to really dry, even though the weather's been kind of wet around here. She's just been sitting and drying, so let's go ahead and pull these out. So I'm just taking the bobby pins out, and I am just very carefully pulling this out. There we go. And now we have a beautiful curl. There we go. So Rain Curl has all of her beautiful curls back, almost as good as new. So let me throw up a before and after picture. And that's how you do a straw curl. So if anybody has any other suggestions on how they like to do their pony's hair, please put them up. It's always good to have multiple techniques in your arsenal. And I hope to see y'all again later. Bye.